Hopefully you can hear me. Yeah. Higher up. Hopefully no one comes along. Right. There is a house just over there, unfortunately. Yes. Still trying to work this out, really. Yeah, this is the new tent. And I'm hoping you can hear me. And we are camping right next to Chessington World of Adventures. Hearing a dog bark over there. I think there's a house over there. I can just dimly see some lights. Hopefully they don't come over. Otherwise, I've not seen a soul up here. I'm on a hill. Yeah. Let's try moving this in a bit. I don't like this kind of this having this in the way, but you know, it's all a bit But yeah, I'm trying my new tent, which is the not Lantern. It's not the Lantern. It is the Naturehike Cloud Up, not Cloud Peak, Cloud Up 2-person, and this is what you're seeing here. And you can see more of it if I lean back. But yeah, I wasn't planning to do a wild camp tonight, but just the weather was so kind of like good during the day. I was like, why don't I just go and do one? And I have to say, the person has gone away. Of course, this is going to mess up my lav mic. Typical. I have to say, happy Pride. Wearing my. Of course, it's too cold now to see it, but choose love t-shirt. So yeah, happy Pride, everyone. And hopefully I can hear me. And yeah, we could probably do a tour of the tent, really. It's pretty good. It's a little bit cramped for me, I have to say. When I'm lying down, it's slightly, I think but luckily this inner doesn't. It stretches, and the outside stretches, so they don't really touch each other. So it's pretty. I think it's pretty good for that. Whereas the Lancham was so baggy, it just kind of you regularly touch the outer and the inner, and then the water came through. But at least this actually, if things stretch the inner, there is actually space around, which is nice. Which was nice. And I'm not really stealth camping. I am really naughty. I'm just basically pitched up at the top of the hill, Winey Hill. I probably shouldn't say where I am. Yeah, I've been pitched up near the Chessington World of Adventures. You know, I'm right next to one of the landmarks, and I'm just kind of like here. And it's rather naughty, but there's no one here, and I'm going to go in the morning anyway. I live nearish, so I might not even have breakfast here. But anyway, so yeah, I think this. I'll show you the tent a bit. Maybe we can do this. And hopefully the light isn't going to attract those people who are neighbours to here. It might, but that's always the risk of wild camping. So yeah, this is the tent. This is where I really wish I had a good wide angle. This is the selfie camera, and it's terrible. So yeah, this is the inside. I got the emerald green version. You can see these sort of stretch. They stretch here and here. You might even be able to see the outer as well. and it kind of is very, I think quite, oh dear, yeah, Pesty's coming in already. Yeah, the light's attracting him, isn't it? Let's try and close the door up. It's got a double zip door, which I quite like. So you can kind of do things like have your feet on the outside and zip up all around them, so only maybe crawly things come in. Banging. Hopefully that's not coming for us. So yeah, it's a pretty, it's slightly cramped. It's sort of between the Lanshan and the Lanshan 1 and Lanshan 2 in size, really. It was supposed to be, it was advertised to be more like the Lanshan 1, Lanshan 2 in size, and it's, I would say, a little bit smaller than the Lanshan 2. And yeah, so it's a little bit cramped in here. You can see that from the mattress going right to the end, and then it goes all the way there. So it's a little bit cramped, but actually lots of headroom. So that's why it's kind of a little bit of a weird hybrid. But what I liked about this tent is that it's got a frame, and I'm going to do a video about it properly, right? Pitch it, and there'll probably be a video with this as well, this trip. But I will do a video of pitching it, in my local park, which is, when I first pitched it. So I talked a lot about it and kind of like why I've got it, because the problem is that the Lanshan 2 is very dependent on the pegs, as all tension tents are. So you've got this thing where if you're on stony ground, if you're on a stony beach, as I was in Scotland, 3 of the nights I was on ground where I couldn't get the pegs in, and I was using rocks, and it was a good thing it wasn't blowing a gale, because otherwise, literally I got up one day and the tent fell down. So this is the reason why I've got this tent for wild camps, where I don't know where I'm going, and also it uses less space, because the problem about the Lanshan 1 is that it's the Lanshan 1 and 2 use, well, not so much Lanshan 1, but Lanshan 2 uses quite a lot of space. You need the guys and everything. It's quite a big tent, and it's difficult to fit in little areas. And it's bright green, which is fine for spring, not so great for the rest of the year. This is a dark green, which helps. Unless you're shining a light in the middle of it, and then it should be rather obvious what's unless you're shining a light, and then everyone can see it for miles. Yes, that's why I'm a bit wary. Why did I tell people where I am? That was a bit dumb, but anyway, this is my manor. This is my manor. Don't come blazing. Yeah, we can show the tent outside. I don't know how much battery power. The problem is that these, I didn't realise these my sort of big boy Boya mics don't actually have a. It's weird. There are 2 types of these Boya mics. There's this one, which is, you can add your own mic in, and supposedly more professional, because you can change the volume and stuff. And hopefully you can hear me. And then there's the little ones, and the little ones actually have the transmitter connector thing, which goes on here. Actually, you can power it while you do it, and you can't do that with the bigger version, which is like, why has the cheaper version got more facilities than this? Anyway, yeah, people keep logging in and just kind of going, oh, no, this isn't for me. Oh, well. So I'll show you the outside of the tent before someone comes along and says, right. And yeah, I would say that it's kind of got a mesh it's half solid. So this tent is kind of, but there is kind of a through draft to the door and the vent. So although it's quite stormproof because of the frame, yeah, I don't think it's good for. It would be good for things like driving snow or very high wind, I think you get quite cold in here. So I don't know if it's a way of lowering it down. So yeah, you could get quite a draft through here, which is good for condensation. It's good on a night like tonight where it's like 10 degrees, but I think if it was colder, this is definitely not a winter tent. And there is, well, a field. You probably can't see much else. You might see the odd red light of the tower on the way out, I don't know. But yeah, hoping no one comes. Ouch! So yes, there's, can you see that? Yeah. And there's the tent, and there's the behind it is the stone memorial, I think, with all the benches. That's why I came here, because I was like, oh, I'll probably do that later, sit out here and just chill, looking at the stars. Because there's not much else to do around here apart from this time of night. This time of night, the World of Adventures is closed, so all there is. That's why I thought there's going to be more people up here sort of drinking, and but it's a school night, so obviously people are not, because it's a school night. So yeah. Here I am. And you can see the tent behind me. Or you can also see the reflective thingy. But yeah, you can hear the A3. We've got the A3 over there. You can see the lights. Mostly the lights you can see, because we are in an area where... What's that? I do hope it's not cows. This field, you can have cows in it. I don't think there's cows tonight, but there could be. You can see something over there. Oh, I think it's the light of that house. Yeah, I don't think there are cows in this field. I don't want them to come investigating my tent. But yes, as I said, happy Pride, everyone. Unfortunately, I'm going to miss Pride because I'm going on a camp. And I'm happy with that because I didn't realise London Pride's on the 29th. But yeah, there's going to be a big collaboration between a whole load of us. That's probably, well, I probably shouldn't announce it really. I don't know. It's likely to happen on that weekend or somewhere around then. So I probably won't be at Pride, which is a shame. But you know, I only ever get sort of drunk and then depressed and see weird people I've not seen for years, and then wonder why I'm there. So I'm happy to do something else. Looks almost black in this sort of light. It's a very yellow light. Yeah, no, I'm pretty happy with it. It's, you know, if you watched things like my life, is it My Life Outdoors? Stephen has tested this by putting it at the top of a tent. Sorry, putting it at the top of a car and driving at high speed. And this was one of the few tents actually. It collapsed and then it bounced back. The frame kind of doesn't bend; it just flexes. So if it collapses in a storm, like the wind gets too bad, it just bounces back again, or bends back really easily. So it's quite a sort of a seemingly bomb-proof tent. But you know, yeah, this is a bit much. I would turn it down about, I don't know. Yeah, it's seemingly a bomb-proof tent, so well, we'll see. We will see. And that was the thing, is if anyone was going to come and attack me over it, I was going to go, well, okay, I'm just testing it. I'm just testing my tent. But I don't think anyone will. Ooh, he says, almost collapsing it by falling into it. But yeah, I don't think anyone will, to be honest. There's no one around here. There's no one here. Yeah, I've also worked out there's on my new selfie stick, there's actually a really useful thing, adaptery thing for a light, so I can actually attach my light to it. So yeah, it's it's very peaceful around here. I'm about to make a coffee or a hot chocolate. I might just call this a short stream. I don't know. I mean, it's like what's if there was people in here, okay, hello. I mean, maybe no one can hear me. It could be that this microphone's turned out too quiet or something like that, because I can't see the levels, can I? This is the fun thing about this. I don't know if you can see the levels. No, that's turning on or off. So yeah, you can't really see the level. So who knows? Hopefully you can hear me. It might be that everyone's coming in and out because I can't hear anything. That would be quite fun. But yeah, it's a bit late, so no one is around. So yes, I don't know. I have to say my bloody phone is terrible. The way it sort of does that, overexposes, underexposes. Yeah, it's not good. It is not good. But yeah, so that's the idea behind this tent, and the idea of why I'm testing it tonight. It will feature in other videos, and I have a lot of fun with it. I think because the thing about the Lanshan too is it's very much a hiker's tent. I'm kind of reprising the stuff I talked about in that sort of first pitch video, but it is very much a tent for hikers hiking a long distance, and that's great. But if sometimes I'm not using trekking poles, and sometimes you want something that's a bit more storm resistant, because the Lanshan can go up to 50-mile-an-hour winds. I've had it out at 30, 40, but it's not a fun experience. I'm sure it's not a fun experience necessarily, but it would stand up to it better than what than on the Lanshans. The Lanshan is just flap like crazy, and because in a frame you're very dependent on lee pegs, and if you're in soft ground or if you're in as I said, hard ground, rocks, that kind of thing, the pegs just pull out and it falls over. So that's not so great. So it's yeah, I would not recommend it for those situations. It's more for people who are hiking long distance along trails that have kind of like heather, soft ground, not rocky ground. They're not going to go. They're not like me, which is like what? It's not for wild camping. Wild camping needs a tent where you are fairly freestanding and can be pitched in pretty much anything, and even pitched without even being pegged in. Some of this is not pegged in at the moment. That it makes it even better, because then you don't have to worry about where you're pitching. Whereas what happened, a lot of the stress to do with my wild camping videos is because I couldn't pitch it anywhere. I had to be very picky about a pitch, and that caused a lot of stress on my videos previously. So it's nice to have a tent that literally I could pretty much pick up and move. I can pick up and move and peg it, and it's freestanding. So, and It's 1.4 kilograms. So actually, it's about the weight of my Lanchan 2. Lanchan 2 is 1 kilogram plus the weight of the trekking poles. My trekking poles have got carbon poles, which are like 350-ish, 400-ish. So it's about the same. That's the fudge with the trekking pole tents. It's like, oh, it's so light and wee, and unless it's Dyneema, it's, as soon as you add in the frame or the trekking poles, it's kind of getting towards a sort of one of the lighter frame tents. So it's kind of like you're not really getting that sort of benefit as much as you could do. So yes, I think I'm probably going to wind this up for tonight. I wanted to do a little stream, and I'm sure people might watch this afterwards and get a cuppa on. I would stream that, but I think it's no one's dropping in, so it's one of these things. Also, I really am not happy about having this big light on me for on the side of a hill where I'm like very visible. Because this is not a stealth camp. I am literally on the side of the hill, but because there's no one overlooking. I mean, there's that house over there that has you can see the lights of the trees, but it's behind all the trees. There is no one actually overlooking, as far as I know. So it is, as long as I'm not hanging around in the morning, I should be fine. So anyway, I'm sure there's people like, where's Chessington World of Adventures? Why didn't you show us Chessington World of Adventures? Well, it's over there. It's 5 minutes that way. Obviously it's closed. There is glamping there. I don't know if the glamping is open at the moment. There might be people camping kind of 5-10 minutes that way in the glamping things. I remember coming up here around COVID when it was all completely closed, and that was all shut down. But it's actually it's operational now, and the hotels are open and people are staying there. But the actual park itself it will be closed now. It's very noisy when it's operating. It's very noisy. The water rides and you can hear all the noises up here. Hello, Molly. I was just about to. I was just about to go. No one's here. I'm gonna make a cuppa and wind up. But I am camping next to Chessington World of Adventures, as you do, because I live near there, and there are sort of green spaces around Chessington World of Adventures. But literally, I'm not stealth camping. I'm on the side of the hill, but there's nothing really apart from the A3, and maybe there's no really overlooking houses. So I'm being very bold and just literally camping on the side of the hill. I'm not hiding in a wood somewhere, which is a bit naughty, but I'm right by home, so if anyone has a go, I can just go, well, I'm testing my tent out, and I'll just go home. So how are things with you, Molly? Yeah. It's very quiet up here. Can you give me a spin around and show the scenery? We could try. There's not much you can see. A field. Yeah. I don't know if you see the red light in the distance. That is the there's like a communications tower, which I've painted. I've drawn from here, and it's like a microwave tower. And you can see the I don't know what those would be. The distant lights of possibly New Malden or Kingston. That way, that would be that sort of area. It can probably go further out, actually. We're on the selfie stick. There we are. There we are. There's the tent. The new tent. the Naturehike Cloud Up 2. And then we have to go back in again to actually read you. Sorry, upside down. Yeah, it is. It is a good spot. It is. I've been up here before. Not camped up here before. John, my partner, suggested it, and I was like, that's a good idea. I was heading for Box Hill. Yeah, the chat thing is disappearing very quickly. Show me chat thing. Right, live chat. Oh, yeah. It's not a very expensive tent. It's a budget tent, but I'm pretty happy with it. Apart from, it's a little bit short. I was talking with Paul, an idiot outdoors, about this. You can see. I'll show you. There's the mattress there. There's the end of the tent. Oh, it's moaning about, oh, you were rotating the device. Yeah, well, that's what happens. That happens. Silly thing. Right. So there's the thing. And then, well, you can see it's now hitting the end because I've slid it, but yeah, so it hits the end. And there's a bit of space there. Slide it forward, but there's not very much space. My feet are kind of a bit pushing against, but luckily the inner is quite taut. And I talked about this in the pitch video. I've done a video of pitching it. Yeah. So there's maybe an inch or two if I have it diagonal on one side. But the thing is the inner is a lot smaller than the fly, and so if you push out the fly, it doesn't really push against the outer. So unlike my Lanshan, where I've talked about this earlier in the stream, you've got like a very baggy thing, and you very easily push the inner to the outer, and you get water through. Whereas here, I think it's quite hard to push the inner against the outer. So I'm not so stressed about the idea of things pushing it out. Yeah. So whereas in my Lanshan, quite often the bottom of my down, luckily my down sleeping bag is that sort of treated stuff, and it dries incredibly quickly. But quite often I'll find the bottom of the bag, if I pushed against it, or like as a sort of slope, will be wet, just from touching the inner, and then the inner touches the outer. Whereas I think in this, that seems to be harder to do if I've pegged it out properly. It seems to stretch it out, so it's actually quite hard to touch the inner and outer, which is, I think, so I'm less bothered about that. But yeah, it is a bit tight for me in here, but lots of headroom, a lot more headroom. Literally on Lanshan, you've got some of this headroom, but a lot less. So you've got a lot more headroom here. So I like that. So it's nicer to sit in with the door open, though I am letting all the pesties in. So, but it's yeah, you see they're coming in. So yeah, it is. Yeah, this. I'm being driven mad by editing at the moment. So, I'm being driven mad by it. Can you lock thingy? Yeah, sort of. So, and the nicer weather as well. We had 23 degrees around here today, so I was like, oh, it's 23 degrees. I came up here, I did a pool and I brought tinnies. I brought tinnies to their Alco pops. But yeah, I've got tinnies to drink. I might have one in a minute. But yeah, I've got tinnies, and Just kind of chilled out with the view. A step 2. Don't know what that means. But yeah, I am getting driven mad by the editing. I've done so far we've got I've edited the two videos that are going to go live well, I don't know if I might just put one up on the next day up, but there's 2 videos going up live on Monday. Then there's the 7, 8 are both edited, and I'm working on 9. I've done that in the last week and a half, and yeah, I just want to get them all out. Really, it's just been, it's like I don't want to be doing the Thames Pass stuff that's supposed to be for spring, still doing it in summer, because there's going to be a Thames summer when I go back and finish it. Oh yes, I do watch Steve. I haven't watched him for a while though. But yeah, yes, I know. I haven't watched him for a very long time. But yeah, he was the first. Steve Wallace was the first. Camping with Steve was the first person I came across stealth camping, and I would say that would be an influence, just kind of because it was the first person I saw doing it. It's one of these things where it's like the first person you see is kind of an influence in itself. So yeah, but I didn't think about doing it until many years later. So I don't know if Steve was a direct influence. It was only one of them, because he wasn't the one that made me think, oh, I could do that. But he was the one I thought, oh, I didn't realise you could do stealth camping videos. But it was really Paul Mesner, Liam Brown, who backpacked across the whole of the UK, the Land's End, John O'Groats Land's End. That was his video. He did like a really good, really big video, several million views, and I was like, ooh, I like that, and that's kind of why I started. And then Paul Mesner and a few others, and it's kind of as I was discussing with Paul and Idiot Outdoors, kind of like he was saying, oh, I tend to go to the more humble, smaller channels, and I'm like that nowadays. Actually, I very rarely watch the big channels. Mostly because they're all copying me. They're all doing West Highland Way. Stop copying me. One of them did it just before, and one of them has just done it. Yeah, so both Paul Mesner and Backpacking UK have just done the West Highland Way, but they didn't do the Great Glen Way. They wimped out. Whereas I did both at the same time, which was a bit dumb. And I was going to do another third, but I think I wisely decided not to, because I couldn't cope with bogs. I talk about that in the video. Yeah, the one I've been watching most recently is there's 2. There's Ron Camping, who is, I think, a van lifer like you, Molly, who does camping, and he's bearded. He's got a white grey beard. I mean, seriously, grey beard. I will pay grey bearded and hiking. I will pay attention. And then there's more recently is Grey Hikes, or Grey Hikes. I think it's called Grey Hiker, who's a Scottish guy who's been talking about the Lanchan 2 and also a few other tents and reviewing those. So I've been watching that. But yeah, smaller channels definitely. It's sort of more interesting. As soon as you get the really big channels, they feel they've got to push gear. They've got to push, their production, and it gets kind of a bit samey. I think it's a bit like they stop innovating. So it's kind of. I hope not to do that. I hope to always keep innovating, but it's like the danger of innovation, as I find, is people will not always get what you do. So yeah, I think the Thames Path is a little bit. I'm happy with it, but I think it's kind of gone a bit beyond what people we're expecting. But it's getting a new audience. There are some people coming in through those videos, so you know, it's kind of it's fine. You know, and I hope they dig the other videos, and I hope the people who dig the Thames Pass, you know, hikers dig the Thames Pass. So, you know, it's like I want that sort of crossover audience, because if we just focus on just doing stealth camps or just doing it all in the same way, it will never change, and we'll never get a new audience. And we all have to try new things. I think it's just you know, it's important. I think, because that spreads the word. Because, you know, if people see the same video all the time, yeah. Well, thanks for dropping by. But yeah, if we're doing the same video all the time, I think that's not going to help. Although that can have comfort value. So, but yeah, I'm always trying to do something different, which I don't know if that really helps my channel. But yeah, I've got my step 2. Ooh, this is the Pinot Grigio. Pinot Grigio in a can. I'm not totally sure if that's a good idea or not. Purist in me goes just no, but then again, it's more convenient. So anyway, but yeah, good night, Marley. And yeah, because I wasn't going to go that late anyway. I want to go and get some. I'm getting a bit cold, having the door open actually. All right. Look at me. I'll probably shut you outside. That would be a good ending. Come inside. I might let less pesties in. And I probably have let lots of pesties in with this light now. So yes. Anyway. So yeah. Oop. He says dropping the camera. That's good. This scanner works really well actually. Oh, it's a bit glary, I think, but it's pretty good. I probably should sidelight it though. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm pretty happy with this tent. But we shall see later on. Hello. Oh, hi, Weatherman. How are you? I was just about to open up the Pinot Grigio in a can, which is the pink Pinot Grigio. Happy Pride, everyone. Yeah. I'm not sure how I feel about this. It's like... But then again, bottles are so heavy, so... Hey. Let's close this up a bit. Because we've got some pesties in here. Well... I have to get used to that. I'm very insect phobic, and I think I need to make more peace with most of them. Apart from midges. I hate midges. Midges can die. This is a very strange angle, I have to say. I'm trying to open up a can whilst live streaming. Oh, excellent! Where's the Negatiland show? If everyone doesn't know, Weatherman is one of the members of a band called Negativeland from San Francisco, who I'm a fan of. Aha. It is nice. Pink Pinot Grigio. Got from Sainsbury's local because everything else is closed because, of course, Sunday. Okay. This is turning into a drinking stream and also turning into just a random stream. But it can. There's no wrong with that. But yeah. Oh, wow. Lowell, Massachusetts. I've never been to Massachusetts. All I know about Massachusetts is that Massachusetts is it's a very strange angle. Very strange angle. Can I just not have an angle that's like, what the hell am I doing with this angle? Ooh, that's better. I think. Yeah. The only thing I know about Massachusetts is it was a Bee Gees song. Bee Gees song. Very cool. Getting drunk? A little bit. This is my second tinny of the night. What else is there to do when you're on a side of a hill next to a motorway and a closed theme park? I mean, really, because that's where I am. I am camped 5 minutes from Chessington World of Adventures, which is a theme park which is closed at the moment. And then there's the A3 nearby. You can hear in the background probably. And yeah, I mean, the other thing I could have been doing is being at home editing, but I did not fancy that because I have edited 4 videos already. In the last week and a half, I've edited 4 videos, and pretty much all of them are finished or close to finished. So it's kind of editing to sort of a final draft or a final level, and I have gone a bit nuts. No, this isn't. Not too far from the Thames. Is not. I'm not along the Thames at the moment, but I'm a few miles from it. Chessington isn't along the Thames, but it's about a mile or so from mile to 2 miles from the Thames. But what I've been editing is my Thames Pass series. So I've done day 8 and day 7 and day 8 are edited. I'm working on day 9. I've got 12 to finish. I've got was it 4 to finish? So 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah. And I am just... We're having good weather tonight. It's been really crappy weather, really horrible weather. I'm not wanting to go out camping or doing anything because it's just been chucking it down. Today it was 23 degrees and it's like 10 degrees, and even the wind's a bit cold. It's actually quite nice weather relatively. So hence I was like, surprise camp, and yeah, I'm glad I did. Testing out the tent, and but not stealth. I am literally on the side of a hill, but luckily no one's overlooking me. So unless someone comes up here, no one's gonna see me, and no one looks up. I was Moley Camping Rules OK was on here earlier, and he camped on a underside of sort of the top ledge on a bridge above everyone, and no one looked up apparently. And I've found that if you camp up in the hill, most of the time people just don't look up. So you can be quite visible, and no one will see you. Most of the time people are wandering around thinking about their own stuff and not actually paying any attention anyway. So you can just be quite blatant sometimes. I'm much more anxious about being found and seen, but it turns out that, well, I'm right by where I live, so I can go home, and if anyone asks, and just say I'm testing the tent. And in practice, no one actually does have a go at you. We'll find out if there's cows in this field, though, because this field quite often has cows in. So I didn't see any recent cow pats, and I didn't see any cows, so I don't think there are any cows in this field, but they do wander around. Is it cows or horses? I think it could be horses, but I think it's cows in this field, or horses. But I've seen them in here, but not recently. But yes, so yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed the tour of the tent. It was, a lot of fun. And I've been showing the scenery as much as you can see at this time of night. But yeah, it's pretty warm in here actually. Now I've closed the door, or mostly closed the door. I've just got my feet sticking out in a little mesh hole. Just that way, the flies don't come in, but you probably will get some crawlies coming in, like spiders. But I'm not a fan of spiders, but I really, really get driven mad by moths. Moths and slugs. Do not like moths and slugs, and obviously midges and bitey things, but mosquitoes. But the most of the time, yeah, I'm like beetles and woodlice and that kind of thing. I quite happily live to those. And small spiders, big spiders, hate. But yeah, little spiders, I can get out. So I don't mind them. I don't mind sharing a space with woodlice. Caterpillars, no. I actually camped when I was camping on the South Downs Way. I camped in a place with massive caterpillars that were like that size, and they made weird clicking noises. And they went on the tent, and I thought they were slugs at first, and I was like, "Those are not slugs." And I realised they were caterpillars because I could see the shadow of them, and it was like that sort of big black shape, but kind of furry, or sort of not a slug. So initially I thought it was slugs, and I was like, "What are those?" I kept banging because there's this weird clicking noise, like click, click, click. I was like, "What is that?" And then I realised it was massive caterpillars. I was like, "Ah!" And I tried to look for them the next day, and I couldn't find them. They'd obviously gone to ground. But yeah, that was weird. I've never seen those again. Caterpillars are not that sort of size. Yeah, I wouldn't really. Yeah, nah, don't want those in the tent. They're probably poisonous. Because the little coaty, spiny, fairy stuff is usually highly not poisonous in the sense of it'll kill you. But it'll give you rashes and things. So yeah, I've never come across those again. I did have, when I was doing a painting once, have little caterpillars crawling at my legs because I was sitting there doing this painting, and they were dropping from the trees. They were just kind of being, not kind of born. I don't know if they've just been born. They were sort of new caterpillars, and they were dropping from the trees, and they were just climbing anything, anything that was going up. And then so they're just climbing at my legs, and I was going get off. That painting was hard to do. It was like it was a watercolor. It was taking me hours, and I was having to brush off caterpillars while doing it. Not recommended. Also, if you're sitting under a tree, sometimes those weird caterpillars that drop down and one of the thread, they can sometimes drop on you. But they're not poisonous. They're just annoying. And like, yeah, get off me. I'm using the Boya mic. This is the one that got lost and I have found again. It got lost on the Devil's Dyke during the South Downs Way trip, and someone sent it back to me, and I was going to pay them the postage, and they were like, "Oh no, that's all right." And I was like, "Oh, thank you, that person." I usually use the little brother of this microphone. I was saying earlier how the little transmitter on the cheaper version actually has a power input, so you can actually you can use a power bank while you're using it. This one doesn't, which is kind of weird. It's kind of got less functionality, but yeah, it's the Boya M1V, I think it's called. Whereas the other one I use is like the M10 or M10V or something like that, wireless mic, which is actually smaller and doesn't sounds maybe 80% as good, but it's very very convenient. Yeah, I didn't think I'd get. That's why I bought the other one. I thought I'd never get it back again, and then so I bought the cheaper one, going well, and then I got sent back the original. I was like, so that's why I got two. So this only comes out on kind of like short-term trips. I never take it on. I usually use it on videos where I'm near home. I don't want to lose it again because it costs a lot more than the little M10 one. I think it's called is like 20 quid, whereas this is more like 50. And so yeah, I don't want to lose this one. But it's a good microphone and it does sound better. But it's just I'm surprised at how good the 20 quid version sounds for its tiny size and its and and how it works. It's pretty cool. But it's it's the perils of doing YouTubing is the losing your microphones, and I have to have the wireless microphone because of the hiking. Because I can't really have the best quality would be a lavalier mic that's connected, but that wouldn't work for like when I'm using selfie shots or whatever. So it has to be a wireless mic. I'd love if someone could send me a DJI mic or a Rode Go or a Rode, some one of those Rodes. That would be great. But yeah, they sound really, really, really nice. But I can't afford 100 quid, 150 quid for a microphone, and the danger is I'll probably lose it anyway. That's why I have cheap microphones and cheap headphones, because I either break them or lose them. I don't spend any money on hats. I don't spend any money on gloves or any form of those kind of things because I see them as expendable because it's so easy to lose and so easy to just. I've lost so many hats and gloves over the years, and it's the idea. I've had posh ones, and it's just heartbreaking when you lose them. So I just don't spend that kind of money. Oh, good. I'm glad it does. This is the first time I've used it with the streaming. Last time I was using the other one on the last live stream, and that had the benefit of I was furiously charging up the phone before I started this because I was like, I don't know how much battery power will last on this stream. But yeah. So I hope the gig goes well, Weatherman, and I hope you all come back to London at some point. That gig that got cancelled because of illness. That would be you should come back. It'd be good to see you. But it's yeah. I'm just drinking pink Pinot Grigio in a tent, as you do, really, as you do. But yeah, I actually had some chips earlier. I have actually brought some food I've brought noodles, some chicken, some teriyaki sauce, and some Chinese noodles, and I might still do that. I plan to do a whole meal here, and I might still do that later on if I'm because my sleep schedule because of the editing has been like working through the night, so I don't know when I'm going to fall asleep. I'm not going to live stream it all, but yeah, I did actually I brought in breakfast as well and coffee and stuff. The temptation tomorrow will be that I'll get the tent down and then I have breakfast, but I might just go home. Just be easier to go home. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. But yeah, last the video that's going up on Monday is another local stealth camp, and it was more stealthy, that one. It wasn't like rather obviously on the side of a hill. And I took some food, but I didn't take a lot of food, and I was hungry. So I had breakfast, but I should have had the breakfast actually, I suppose. But I had breakfast, but I had a bit of food, but I didn't bring any crisps or anything else. And it was one of those kind of be good to yourself, Sainsbury's meals, which are calorie counted and that kind of stuff, and just very small portion. It was really nice, but I wish I had two of them, and so I was hungry. So this time I made sure I had lots of food and alcohol, just in case it gets snowed in or something. Yeah, it's not supposed to snow, but I didn't want to be hungry this time, and I bought. The reason why I got the chips is I got as the French fries, as you would say in the States. Is I went to the local kebab place, which is down the hill. It's about the only thing around here. Yeah, hey Sparker. Well, this isn't really a trip. This is just me doing a quick local surprise pop-up wild camp. Although it's not that wild. It is wild. By Chessington World of Adventures on a hill, but it's not that stealthy. If people wander by the main path, they'll see me, but no one's up here at the moment, so it's stealthy in the fact that no one's up here. But in the morning it'll be interesting. I probably will have to get the tent down early on, but I'm right by home, so I can take a bus from here, even walk home from here. So if I have aggro, I'll just go. But yeah. So it's not really a trip. It's just sort of me chilling out on a hill, drinking Pinot Grigio, pink Pinot Grigio. Happy Pride. But yes, it's and talking about my tent. So that's what I've been doing. This is the inaugural use of this tent. I wanted to test it out before I try it somewhere else. Thought you were still in Scotland. I got back from Scotland about a week and a half ago. I was there for 2.5 weeks. Yeah, it's about just under a week and a half ago. It was a fun trip, 170 miles. I did the West Highland Way and the Great Glen Way. I didn't go on to do the John O'Groats Way as I was planning. Partly because I met people who'd come down it, who were doing the whole Land's End to John O'Groats thing, and walking the whole of the UK, and they said, "Oh, it was really tough," and I was like, "What?" So somebody who's just started on their trip to walk the whole of the UK, the first leg, they say it was really tough. Now that just might be they're not used to it, but it's apparently very boggy up there. So I was like, "Oh no." I'm not good with bogs. Boggy ground is my bête noire. So I will do it. I am going to do it. And I'm thinking of doing it like September, October. And just as one thing, and then get to the Orkneys that way. And just take a coach to Inverness. And I will do it. But I want to do it when hopefully we'll have a lovely summer that's really dry. It hasn't been so far, but hopefully it'll dry out a bit. Otherwise, I'm going to get some neoprene boots. I think something needs something a bit better than my waterproof socks, and I'm going to get the neoprene boots. I think that those people who go diving or sort of water sport, do diving and things use. They have like these sort of neoprene boot things. I'm thinking of getting some of those for bog walking, because bog walking is a real nightmare, because as soon as you get your feet wet, they stay wet, and it's just not very nice if you're doing because apparently 3 days of that trip, of the John O'Groats trip, is bog walking. 3 days of walking in the bogs. So I was like, shite. No. I was like, where would you camp as well? You're just trying to find somewhere not boggy to camp. But so yeah, I need a better solution for that. Something that's a bit more. I was going to wear waterproof socks and sandals, and that's why I had the sandals with me. I didn't use the waterproof socks in the end. I did use the sandals, For burn crossings, burns are small streams, and for the bogs. But I think I probably need something a bit more like either water shoes or neoprene boots, because they'll be quite not too heavy, and then I can wear those for a hike for a day, and hopefully my feet will be okay. Whereas something like sandals, these cheap sandals plus waterproof socks, I suspect will have blisters quite quickly. So yeah, I need to work out what to do, because it's having done it with the Thames Pass, walking through boggy fields and getting my feet wet. That was horrible. The idea of having days of that is like, yeah. It's just a last step. It's after Golspie and Brora. It's I've got the maps for it. It's the last kind of half gets very wild and quite boggy in places, and there's supposed to be a marked path, but there isn't a marked path, so it gets a bit at that point. So I will do it. I really want to do it. I really want to do the John O'Groats walk, 147 miles. But and having done 170 miles, I know I can do that. But I want to do it when it's not so horrible. I hope it's drier. And also it's East Coast, so I probably could do it the height of summer, because although bits of it are boggy, it's the East Coast and that tends to get less midges. So I might be all right for that regard, because coast midges hate coast. They hate wind. They don't like wind. They don't like mountains. They don't like drier places. And East Coast is drier and windier, but it's on both sides are windy. But there's a wind coming in from the North Sea, and that is also why I wanted a tent like this, because something that's freestanding and framed, it'd be better for that kind of thing. Whereas my Lanchan 2 can cope, but not very well with those kind of things. And trekking pole tents don't cope very well with rocky ground on the side of cliffs or anything like that, or high winds. They can do high winds, but it's not fun. It's not fun. Probably wouldn't be fun in this tent, but it would stand up to it better. Whereas the Lanchan would just be like flap, 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 and eventually then pull out your pegs and fall over. Which is what happens when it gets too windy. It pulls pegs out. So yeah. So we've reached an hour. I think I need to get make some hot chocolate, I think, and this has been quite a relaxing, chilled stream, really. I wasn't sure what it would be like, and whether it would be like, oh, let's talk about technical stuff, or let's talk about pink Pinot Grigio. So yeah, I think it's probably a good time to end that here, I think, unless anyone has any other questions. But yeah, I don't know how I managed to make it myself so upset all the time. That's better. Oh. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's. We'll see. We'll see if I get busted in the morning, and see if anyone comes and has a go at me. I suspect not. I suspect there'll be dog walkers coming through on the other path that's nearby. Usually they leave you alone because they think you're a homeless person. So, and in this country you only get fined £2,500 up to 3 months jail. But that only happens if you refuse to move, or you damage something, or it's kind of you have to really try hard. How about the Strid? I'm not going to the Strid. Those are the burns I'm not going to jump. Jumping the Strid that's a very dangerous thing to do. If anyone doesn't know, the Strid is basically a stream, or incredibly deep stream, or more like a ravine, I think. It's a ravine that goes, it looks like a normal stream, but just has this very deep ravine. and if you fall into it, you'll never be found again. You won't come out. People don't come out, and because it's so deep, you just sink. And yeah, don't jump in the street. Yeah, there's not the burns I'm jumping over. They're just normal streams, which can be up to 6 foot when they're in spate. So on the John O'Groats, but yeah, that's only if it's been really, really raining. And in that case, to be honest, I would just go inland and go around and find a bridge or something. And the other thing is jumping over barbed wire fences. There's lots of barbed wire fences along the John O'Groats way. But well, not lots. There's a few. That I'm not bothered about doing that. There's a danger of tearing your trousers or something like that. But you just throw your pack over and then go over. I've done it before. Walking in Scotland, you've got a right to roam wherever you want, and but that means that there are barbed wire fences and fences you have to go over, and I've done that before. Follow the coast doing that. Wanted to go to a lighthouse in Ullapool. I can't remember. It's this lighthouse at the mouth of the river or the port to Ullapool, and I just walked along the coast, and then I had to jump over the odd fence to do that. But it was legal. It was nice. There was a point where I was a bit like, you're right by the It was a bit. Should I be doing this? But it was fine. The situation with the John O'Groats is the most of it is marked, and all of it should be marked really, but I think some of it isn't marked that well, but most of it's really marked, so you should be able to be fine. You've got a marked route. I do prefer trails that have marked routes. But yeah, thanks for dropping by, Weatherman. Have a good gig. But yeah, so I prefer marked. Marked trails if I can do that. That might change. I am thinking of going up to the Peak District. Now I can get these cheap coaches. I'm very tempted to go up to Sheffield and then just go out into the peaks and just have a wild one. I will probably do that at some point this summer or late in the year. Do a Paul Mesner. Yeah, because now I've realised I can do that. So that will be really cool. So anyway, I better wind this up. I want to maybe get some food, and yeah, well, hopefully it's a good camp. It's been good so far. No one's bothered me. Yeah, and get some food or maybe get a hot drink, I think. So anyway, thanks for dropping by. Banging again. Not knocking on the door. And I'll speak to you soon. Yeah, stop. Yeah, I do want to stop the streaming. Are you really sure? Yes, I am.